Hello, sports fans. It is Monday, February the 11th, the year 2013, and as usual, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Let's start with a little recap of what went on over the weekend since the last time I talked to you. Let's start with some college basketball going back a couple days. Duke blew out NC State at Cameron Indoor Stadium at Duke. If you remember earlier in the year, NC State beat Duke when Duke was undefeated and ranked number 1. NC State got him in Raleigh. Duke remembered that and laid the wood on NC State in this rematch. Duke looked really good. Look for Duke to go back to number 1 later on today when the polls are released. Duke looks like they're going to be the new number 1 team because so many teams in the top 5 lost. Illinois beat Indiana 74-72 in just a really exciting game in Champaign, Illinois. Great atmosphere in Illinois. Illinois with the big rally down the stretch. They score at the buzzer with no time left on a backdoor play where Indiana looked lost defending the play. Bad loss by Indiana. They should have never let this game get away. Tremendous win by Illinois. They really needed this win to, boost their NCAA tournament hopes. Needed the win and they got it. And then they went on the road and they beat Minnesota, Illinois. So Illinois, a great back-to-back. They beat Indiana at home, and then they go to Minnesota and beat a nice Gopher team. So Illinois had a tremendous weekend. Really nice weekend by Illinois. Wisconsin at home in the Kohl Center beat Michigan 65-62 in overtime. What a wild game this was. Wisconsin hits a half-court shot at the buzzer with no time left to send the game into overtime. Then they hit a big shot at the end of overtime, and they win and they beat, which was previously number 1 Michigan. Michigan will drop out of the number 1 slot with this loss. What a win for Wisconsin. I mean, a half-court shot at the buzzer to send the game into overtime. Really, really exciting game. Another tremendous atmosphere there at the Kohl Center in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a tough team to play. Their style is very, very tough to play. You don't want to play Wisconsin in the tournament. They have a style no one wants to deal with. Oklahoma beat Kansas in Oklahoma. What's going on with Kansas? Kansas a week ago was flying. They were on a big roll. They had the longest winning streak in the nation. They had only one loss. That was to Michigan State early in the year, a game they let slip away. And what has gone on with Kansas? They lose a home game to Oklahoma State about a week ago. They never lose at home. Then, inexplicably, they go to TCU. TCU's awful. They lay a complete egg at TCU, have like 5 points in the first 15 minutes of the game, lose to a bad TCU team, then go back on the road and now lose to Oklahoma. 3 in a row for Kansas. Kansas never loses 3 in a row. They never lose one game, let alone 2, 3 games in a row. Keep an eye on Kansas tonight. They're home against Kansas State. If they're going to bust out of it, it's going to be at home against their arch rival Kansas State, who they always beat. Keep an eye on Kansas tonight. If they lose that game, what's going on with Kansas? But I think they will get the job done tonight. Miami of Florida in basketball continues to roll. They beat North Carolina 87-61. 87-61. In the past, that's the reverse to score. North Carolina usually beats Miami 87-61. What is going on here? The world is upside down. Miami is a perennial power in college basketball now, and North Carolina is stumbling and bumbling. What's going on here? The world is upside down here with this. I mean, Miami, how good is Jim Larinaga as a coach? He took George Mason to the Final Four. Now he has Miami just rolling. They're going to win the ACC regular title. They haven't lost an ACC game. That's a tough conference. That's got Duke, North Carolina State, Virginia, on and on and on. They haven't lost an ACC game. How good is Jim Larinaga as a coach? Tremendous coach. Notre Dame at home beat Louisville 104-101 in 5 overtimes. You talk about a classic. Just an unbelievable game, back and forth in the overtimes. Louisville in regulation let this game slip away. They had a big lead. They blew it at the end, and then the overtimes were to die for. Back and forth, these teams went slugging back and forth at each other. Really nice atmosphere there at Notre Dame. I didn't realize, outside of Kansas, Notre Dame has the best home court winning percentage in the last 7 years. I would never have guessed that. I would have thought maybe Duke, somebody else. I never thought Notre Dame was the second highest winning percentage in all of college basketball in the last 7 years. Only Kansas is better. So Notre Dame with a tremendous win. Rick Pitino looked sick after the game. I mean, his team really let this game slip away in overtime. Rick Pitino ripped off his suit jacket. He looked totally disheveled at the end of this game. So nice job by Notre Dame there. Kansas State beat Iowa State. Bruce Weber's doing a nice job at Kansas State. Pitt won at Cincinnati. I mean, what a grinded-out game this was. Jamie Dixon gets the most out of his players. Oklahoma State, they're really starting to play some nice ball at home. They beat Texas. I'm sorry, that game was in Texas. Texas really struggling. Rick Barnes, he's going to be on the hot seat soon. I mean, Texas is playing awful basketball. I mean, I've never seen a Texas team be this bad. Oklahoma State doing a nice job. Syracuse at home in the Carrier Dome beats St. John's. They kind of handle them pretty easily. Steve Lavin, the coach of St. John's, actually did not coach this game because his father passed away. So condolences to Steve Lavin and his family. Hopefully he'll be back on the sideline soon. Syracuse got the job done yesterday. Indiana rebounded off their tough loss to Illinois. They went to Ohio State and got a nice win and beat Ohio State. Like I said before, Illinois went to Minnesota and beat them. And Duke last night hung on and beat Boston College by 1 up in Boston College. I mean, I thought for a second Boston College was going to beat Duke, and all these teams in like the top 5 were going to lose. We were going to have like 4 teams in the top 5 lose. Duke did hold on. They win by 1. They should go to number 1 when the polls are released later on today. So that's kind of some of your college basketball scores over the weekend. As far as some of your NHL, let's throw out some scores from over the weekend. I'm not going to do all the scores, just a couple news and notes. Buffalo had a couple nice wins over Montreal and the Islanders. Then they lost to Boston last night. New Jersey beat Tampa. Then they beat Pittsburgh back-to-back. So New Jersey had a really nice weekend. 3 nice wins. They beat Tampa Bay, then a nice back-to-back. They beat the Penguins twice, and the Penguins were playing some good hockey. So nice job by the Devils. No one runs a team better than the Devils front office. Every year they seem to be good. The Rangers beat the Islanders, and then they beat Tampa. Rangers starting to play better ball. Like I said, Pittsburgh, they did beat Washington, but then they lost a home and home to Jersey. They lost both games. Pittsburgh was due for a little letdown. They've been playing so good the last week or two. Toronto, they beat Winnipeg and Montreal. Toronto's showing some things. Detroit beat St. Louis and L.A. Nice job by them. Vancouver's playing some good hockey. They beat Minnesota and Calgary. Chicago continues to roll. They beat Phoenix and Nashville. Chicago is rolling this year. Anaheim lost to Dallas, but they beat St. Louis. Anaheim's doing a tremendous job early in the season. St. Louis starting to slump a little bit. They lost to Detroit and Anaheim. Keep an eye on St. Louis. I like the Blues team. They have been slumping the last few days. They haven't looked good the last few days. I still think they're a good team. Over to the NBA the last few days. Boston just blew out the Lakers, on Thursday night. Just blew them out. The Celtics, since they lost Rondo, are playing nice ball, believe it or not. I thought they might go in the tank without Rondo, an older team. They're really showing some pride. One thing you need to know about the Celtics, they have a lot of pride. They play hard, and Doc Rivers is a good coach. They give you everything they have. I mean, they have some age on the team, but they don't quit on the team, and they blew out the Lakers. Denver blew out Chicago. Denver has got a tremendous home court advantage there in that altitude. Friday, Washington beat Brooklyn. We'll get to Brooklyn a little later, and we'll get to the Lakers a little later as well. So Washington's playing a little better with John Wall back. They beat the Knicks. They beat Brooklyn. The Lakers did beat Charlotte. They actually pulled this game out of the fire. They're down 20 points to Charlotte in the third quarter, which is hard to believe. They're actually down 20. They rally and do win. I mean, Charlotte's an awful team. I'm not giving the Lakers too much credit there. Toronto beat Indiana in overtime, ended Indiana's long winning streak at home. Detroit also ended San Antonio's long winning streak. Of course, Duncan and Ginobili didn't play, but Detroit did get them. Miami bombed the Clippers. Griffin and Paul are back, but Miami blew them out. Memphis beat Golden State. Golden State's really struggling lately. Knicks beat Minnesota, and Chicago beat Utah. Saturday, Dallas beat Golden State. Like I said, Golden State playing really, really bad ball all of a sudden. Sunday, yesterday, the Clippers went into Madison Square Garden and blew out the Knicks. Carmelo Anthony had a huge game for the Knicks. What do you have, 42 points? But the Clippers just blew them out. Nice win by the Clippers. Griffin and Paul are back. We know if they have those guys back and they're healthy, the Clippers are a really, really good team, upper echelon team. Boston at home beat Denver in 3 overtimes. Boston continues to win. San Antonio blew out Brooklyn in Brooklyn. We'll get to Brooklyn in a second. You should not lose to a San Antonio team that doesn't have Duncan and Ginobili by 25 points in your own building. That's a bad job by Brooklyn. And Miami beat the Lakers. Miami was basically toying with the Lakers the whole day. It was close through 3 quarters. Miami kind of pulled away in the 4th quarter, so Miami got them there. 2 teams I want to touch on real quick, and we'll get more into the NBA on Thursday. I'm going to do my NHL on Wednesday. We'll do some college basketball tomorrow. But 2 teams I have to touch on in the NBA, and I can't wait till the end of the week. the Lakers and Brooklyn. Let's start with Brooklyn real quick. Brooklyn lost to San Antonio at Brooklyn last night by 25 points. Duncan and Ginobili did not play. That is a despicable loss by Brooklyn. You cannot lose in your building to a depleted San Antonio team by 25 points. I'm sorry, you can't do it. Now, I've liked P.J. Carlesimo since he's taken over for Avery Johnson, but I'm sorry. Brooklyn can't be a good team, and they can't beat teams that are wounded. It seems every team that limps into Brooklyn beats them all the time. The Lakers limped in there and beat them. San Antonio drubs them. They can't beat a decent team. Yeah, they can beat the bottom feeders. They can beat your Charlottes, your Minnesotas, your Sacramentos. Brooklyn can handle those teams. They can't beat the Lakers. They can't beat San Antonio. They can't beat Boston. They can't beat anyone with a pulse. I mean, what is the story? Brooklyn is building a nice home court advantage there. You have to start beating the good teams. I mean, Brooklyn has a decent team. They got Williams, they got Lopez, they got Wallace, they got Humphreys, they got Joe Johnson. I mean, what is the problem here? Let me start with Darren Williams. Darren Williams, I know, is playing through some injuries. Probably in the offseason, he's going to need some surgery, but he's able to play through these injuries. I understand that. He's playing. He's got some nagging injuries. Darren Williams has to play better than this. I'm sorry. He basically got Avery Johnson run out of town. I mean, he is the leader of this team. He signed the extension here. He's the star of the team. He has to play better than this. It starts with him. Everyone gets on Lopez. Let's get on Williams. And I'll tell you what, how about Joe Johnson? How about Joe Johnson in a big spot? Show me something. Joe Johnson has like a maximum contract. He was a max player at Atlanta. He always came up short in a big spot. That's why Atlanta jettisoned him out, and that's why he's on Brooklyn now. He has got to step up his game in a big spot. And you know what? I don't even know if he's capable of it. Joe Johnson gets paid money like he's a superstar, but he's not a superstar. He's borderline all-star. I would call him a borderline all-star, and I might not necessarily say he is an all-star. He's certainly not a superstar, but he makes superstar money. And Darren Williams also makes superstar money. And right now, he's not playing like a superstar. He is not playing like a superstar. The Nets cannot lose at home to San Antonio by 25 points without Duncan and Ginobili in the lineup. And I know Popovich is a great coach for the Spurs, and they get the most out of their players. I'm sorry. The Nets cannot allow that to happen. That is atrocious. That is like the way the old Nets play. I mean, that is the dark years of the Nets when they just let anyone come into their building and push them around. I thought we were past that with the Nets. I thought in this new arena we were beyond that. They weren't going to get pushed around in their own arena. You cannot allow San Antonio without Duncan and Ginobili to beat you by 25 points. And it starts with you, Darren Williams, and it starts with you, Joe Johnson. Don't blame the coach. You got Avery Johnson fired. You have a new coach now. Don't say it's Lopez. Don't say it's this guy. Darren Williams and Joe Johnson have to lead this team. That was a despicable, deplorable, just really ridiculous loss last night to San Antonio. They should be ashamed of their effort. They should give back their paychecks for the effort they put in last night. Terrible job by Brooklyn last night. Now let's get over to the Lakers real quick. And I know we're doing the NBA on Thursday. I can't wait till then. The Lakers are an unlikable, unwatchable. They are not endearing. They are a circus carnival act. I am sick of this Laker team. I can't stand it anymore. Dwight Howard, what's happened to you? I thought Dwight Howard was going to be just an awesome player. I liked him when he first came into the league with Orlando. The way he ended the whole scene with Orlando was just a complete joke. He wanted to go to Brooklyn. Then he signs a one-year extension with Orlando. He wants to go. He wants to go here. He wants to go there. He wants to go to L.A. He wants to go to Brooklyn. He wants to go. What is Dwight Howard? What is going on with him? Not to mention his game has gone down the tubes. He can't make a free throw. He's a worse free throw shooter than Shaquille O'Neal. Can't make a free throw. Doesn't have many big games anymore. What is the deal with Dwight Howard? He's a complete clown. I mean, I can't believe what a clown this guy is. I can't take it anymore. And he hasn't signed an extension with the Lakers yet. He could leave Los Angeles. I mean, I could see it happening. He's not getting along with Kobe Bryant. These two egos can't coexist. He has not signed an extension. Would it shock you if Dwight Howard is not on the Lakers next year? I could see him pulling this again. Oh, I want to go to Brooklyn. I want to go here. I want to go there. I don't see him coming back to the Lakers. I just don't see it. Him and Kobe Bryant have too big of egos to coexist. And then Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant every day is tweeting something or talking to some outlet with the news media about something. He's tweeting this. He's talking about this. He's talking to Stephen A. Smith. He's talking to the guy on ESPN. He's tweeting. He's tweeting to Paul Gasol. They're tweeting each other back and forth. They're on the same team, but yet they have to tweet each other. They can't talk in the locker room. Everything that's supposed to be private business for the Lakers is out in public. I mean, they're talking about team unity, and the next day one of them rips each other in the paper. Why is Kobe Bryant tweeting with Paul Gasol? Why are they tweeting? Why don't they just talk, in the locker room? They're on the same team. I mean, Kobe's tweeting to Gasol. Gasol's out with an injury. Well, we miss you on the court. Gasol's tweeting back, well, I hope to be back soon. You need to tweet this information? You don't see this guy enough at the Staples Center? I mean, what is the story on Gasol? I know he's hurt, so I don't want to pick on him too much when he's injured. He's soft. He's a soft player. I'm sorry, he's soft. He's a soft player. I liked when they got Gasol a few years ago and they won a couple titles with him. He's soft. I'm sorry. And then you got Ron Artest. Oh, I'm sorry, Meta World Peace. I mean, does that say it all? The guy changed his name from Ron Artest to Meta World Peace. He's insane. I mean, he's insane. He's nuts. I mean, we know he's nuts. He ran up into the stands years ago and started throwing punches at fans. We know he's crazy. So you got him on the team. Then you got Steve Nash. So we all love Steve Nash. We all loved him on Phoenix. But let's face it, Phoenix was an arch rival of the Lakers. I mean, now Nash, who was a Sun all his life, is on the Lakers? I mean, how does that work exactly? I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, Sun was an arch rival of the Lakers. The Suns hate the Lakers. The Suns and their fans hate the Lakers. And now Nash, who was Mr. Phoenix Sun, is on the Lakers? I mean, what did he say about this mess? I mean, imagine Nash dealing with these guys, with Kobe and Howard and Artest. I mean, then you got the coaching change. First of all, the Lakers should have never hired Brown. Should have never hired Brown. He was the wrong fit. LeBron James didn't want him as coach in Cleveland, yet the Lakers want him, put him with Kobe Bryant. That's going to work. It didn't work with LeBron James. Why is it going to work with Kobe? Then they fire him. They bring in D'Antoni. So they make one mistake and they compound it with another mistake with D'Antoni. D'Antoni doesn't coach defense. He doesn't coach defense at all. I mean, then they leave Phil Jackson high and dry. I don't understand that. Phil Jackson is engaged to Jeannie Buss, who's the Lakers owner's daughter. I mean, you leave Phil Jackson high and dry? I mean, where's the communication here? Then Dr. Buss, who ran a meticulous franchise with the Lakers all these years, basically has given up controls to his son. I don't know if his son knows what the heck he's doing. His son looked lost. So you have the ownership here kind of changing to Dr. Buss to his son. The son doesn't have a clue. You got all these personalities and egos. No one knows what's going on. I mean, you have D'Antonio who doesn't preach any defense. And then you got all these just carnival circus egos to deal with. Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard, shut up and play. Kobe Bryant, shut up and play. Gasol, get healthy. Artest, we don't want to hear anything from you. And Steve Nash, he must be just shaking his head. The Lakers have no bench either. I mean, I know Earl Clark has done some nice things. The Lakers don't have a great bench. I mean, this team is 4 games under 500. If I told you at the beginning of the team with Howard, Kobe, Nash, Gasol, and Artest would be 4 games under 500, what would you say? You'd say I was crazy. Yet here they are, 4 games under 500. They're like 10 games under 500 on the road. Can't win a road game. Can't win a road game with this group. I mean, I'm sick of these interviews every day. Kobe talking to this one, tweeting that one on social media, here, there. Shut up. Shut up and play ball. I can't take it anymore. Go out and win a big game on the road. Can you do that? I mean, you lost to Miami yesterday. You got blown out by Boston. Blown out by Boston without Rondo. Boston just embarrassed them. I mean, they barely beat Charlotte. They can't beat a decent team. They can't win a road game at all. I mean, with this collection of players, what a mess. I mean, to me, it's only going to get worse from here because at the end of the year, Howard, I am telling you, Dwight Howard is going to want to separate himself from this. He is not going to coexist with Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant, his ego again shows up. The other night in Charlotte, he takes 2 shots in the first half to prove his point. You know, Kobe Bryant takes 1,000,000 shots, but that game he's not going to take any shots to prove his point. He's going to be like, okay, you guys do it. I'm going to stand over here. Kobe Bryant, don't get me wrong, he's a great player. He's won his titles. He's a Hall of Famer. We know all that. He's a great player, all-time great. Kobe Bryant doesn't make anyone better on the team. He doesn't make anyone better on the team. He just doesn't. It's just not in his nature. He just does not do it. And I don't want to make this about him because Kobe's playing well this year. This, to me, is more on Dwight Howard, Gasol with all his whining coming off the bench. I mean, Gasol, why do you have a problem coming off the bench? You've been playing lousy. You're lucky you're still on this team. The Lakers should have traded you last year. You're soft. The Lakers should have traded you last year, and now you're going to tell me you don't want to come off the bench? Be happy you're even on this team. And Dwight Howard, shut your mouth. Go play ball. And Kobe, I don't want to hear any more tweets. I don't want to hear Yahoo. I don't want to hear you talking to Stephen A. Smith of all people. I don't want to have you talking to anyone from ESPN. I don't want you on Facebook, MySpace, or anything else. All of a sudden, Kobe wants to put out his whole personal life all of a sudden. Kobe Bryant was a very reserved guy. He didn't give you any information about himself. Now, all of a sudden, he's Mr. Tweeter. Tweeting this, tweeting that. You can't go a day without Kobe Bryant and the Lakers tweeting each other back and forth about some controversy. And D'Antoni, the coach, looks completely lost, like he has no control over this team. And I love Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson, who works for ABC, he's in the studio there talking. Every time Magic Johnson talks about the Lakers, he looks like he's just going to get sick, because Magic Johnson was an all-time great Laker. He still loves the Lakers, even though he doesn't have ownership. He's not part of ownership anymore. Magic loves the Lakers, and he just shakes his head every time you talk about the Lakers. He can't even understand this. And he was right. They should have never hired Brown, and they never should have hired D'Antoni. Phil Jackson was the man for the job. They totally botched that up. And I'm trying to figure out how you botched that up when Jeannie Buss, the daughter's, the daughter of Dr. Jerry Buss, is dating Phil Jackson. How exactly do you botch that up? How does the communication get lost there where Phil Jackson doesn't even know they're going to hire D'Antoni? I mean, I don't get it. This is the Lakers, right? I mean, they run a first-class organization, right? This is one of the all-time great franchises in any sport, right? What are they doing? What's going on? Come on, Lakers. I mean, you're better than this. This is embarrassing. And here's another thing. They're not endearing to the fans. You're telling me the fans love this team? The fans love Dwight Howard and Ron Artest and having Steve Nash, who was a rival on the team? I mean, and hearing Kobe every day with this nonsense? You think the Laker fans like this? Please. Not at all. Lakers are embarrassing. They're a joke. They're a circus. They're 4 games out of the playoffs. They're 4 games under 500. I don't even know if they make the playoffs. And if they do, they're out in the first round. Lakers have all sorts of issues. I just wish they'd go away for the rest of the year. I don't want to hear any more about the Lakers. You know what? Start winning a few games. Go win 10 in a row, and then we'll talk. Dwight Howard, you go have a monster game. Go put up 40 against somebody. Complete disgrace the Lakers are. They're a disgrace. And you know what? Dwight Howard doesn't want to be a Laker. Get him out. Get him out of here. This is the Lakers. You don't want to be a Laker? Get out. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a Laker. Wilt Chamberlain was a Laker. Magic Johnson was a Laker. James Worthy was a Laker. Jerry West was a Laker. You don't want to be a Laker, Howard? Don't flatter yourself. Get out of here. Get out. Get him off the team. We don't need Dwight Howard on this team. Who is he? I don't want to be a Laker. Go to Brooklyn. Go to Atlanta. Go wherever you want. You should have stayed in Orlando then. You don't want to be a Laker. Talk about embarrassing. You don't want to be a Laker, one of the greatest franchises in the history of sports. You don't want to be a Laker? Get out. Get him out. Get him out of here. They're not winning with him. It's a joke. All they're doing is quibbling with each other. Kobe and Howard can't coexist. We see that now. It's not working. It's broken. Dwight Howard doesn't want to be here? Get him out. Get him off the team. Let him go. All right. That's my little rant on the Lakers. I'm sorry. I couldn't wait till Thursday to do it. I mean, after watching them against Boston and Miami, I had to go off on them. So that's my little rant about the Lakers. I'm sure we'll get into them more on Thursday. I'm sure they'll do something silly again, before Thursday as well. All right, as far as what to watch tonight, as far as some games, kind of a light night in the sports world, but let's go through some of the games to watch. As far as your NBA, you got the Clippers at Philly, you got the Nets at the Pacers, you got the Spurs at Chicago, you got Atlanta at Dallas, NHL, Philly, Toronto, Carolina Islanders, and you have the Kings at the Blues. I mean, not great NHL, not great NBA. I'm going to watch the college basketball tonight, the big Monday. I'm going to watch Marquette, Georgetown, and I'm definitely going to watch the late game, Kansas State at Kansas, because first of all, I love when Kansas plays at home at Fog Allen Fieldhouse. The fans are tremendous, and I want to see if Kansas snaps out of this 3-game losing streak. They've been playing lousy ball the last week. Let's see if they bounce back against their arch-rival K-State, who they always beat. K-State would love nothing more than knock off Kansas tonight. So I'm going to really focus on that Kansas State-Kansas game tonight. Okay, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to my ranting about the Lakers. You guys stay safe. Enjoy the games tonight. Tomorrow, we're going to do our college basketball, go through the top 25, all that kind of stuff. Wednesday, all NHL. And Thursday, we'll do some more NBA. And like I said, I'm sure I'll get to the Lakers again on Thursday because they're going to do something silly before the week is over. No doubt about it. All right, you guys, once again, stay safe. Enjoy the games tonight. Thanks for tuning in. I will talk to you tomorrow, Tuesday. Take care.